All right, guys, so here we are the day before a test, and here is a little test review. If you guys didn't hear when Ms. Ramos said that you needed to understand how to do the DNAs, you do need to understand how to do it. So you already have two questions or exposure to two questions that are very similar to the ones on the test. Okay, so make sure that you understand the DNA from today. Now, there's going to be a couple other questions that have to do with angle relationships, and that is exactly what you guys are seeing here. Okay, so I'm going to cover this on this side for a little bit, and then I'm going to focus on this. Okay, so I am going to say that I want to understand, or I want you guys to be able to tell me what angles are related, what angles are congruent to angle 1. Okay, so I'm going to be talking to myself. Don't think I'm crazy. Okay, so what angles are related to angle 1? So in your head, this is what should be going on. Okay, well, let's see. Ms. Corrales and Ms. Ramos told me that I need to not forget about vertical angles. Okay, so look, 4 is a vertical to 1, so that's congruent. And oh, I do remember her saying something about if I were able to pick up this line and drop it right on top of the next one, the number that 1 would land on top of, that was congruent. So if I can use my imagination, pick up this line and drop it on top, where does 1 land? On top of 5. Got it. All right. That means that 5 is also congruent to 1. Now, there's another one that Ms. Corrales and Ms. Ramos kept talking about, alternate interior. No, that's an exterior angle, because I know that exterior angles are outside of the parallel lines. Oh, yes, alternate exterior. Okay, so 1 is alternate exterior to 8. That means that it's congruent. Okay, so what should I expect on the test? On the test, you should expect something like what is over here. It gives you basically angles, and it gives you a reason as to why they are related to, in this case, we wanted to know if they're congruent to angle 1, right? We wanted to know what is congruent to angle 1. So let's see. Angle 4, oh look, I circled it. It's congruent because of vertical angles. Is that the reasoning? Yes, it is. So I would circle, bubble, whatever it is that I needed to do. Angle 2, I didn't even circle that one. It says vertical angles, but vertical angles are right, directly across, not next to each other. That doesn't make sense. So that's not an answer. Angle 4, oh look, I have it again because of alternate interior angles. I know that they can have more than one relationship, but number 1 is an exterior angle. So that doesn't make sense either. I'm going to go ahead and cross that out. Number 5, is it corresponding? Is that the name that Ms. Corrales and Ms. Ramos gave it? I do remember them saying it corresponds, it belongs to, right? The Spanish word corresponder means it belongs to. So yeah, does it belong to that same spot if I were able to pick up this line and drop it on top of here? Yes, it does belong on that same spot, so correct. That is a valid reason. And then we have 8. 8 because it's alternate exterior. That makes more sense, right? These are exterior angles, and they are alternating on the opposite sides of the transversal, which is our red line. So that makes sense as well. Okay, so don't be fooled like here. If you went ahead and circled 4, don't just want to circle both of them, right? This one's wrong. That's not the correct reason. Make sure that you understand why those angles are related. Now, there could be another question like this. How are angle 8 and angle 3 related? I'm going to use my highlighter since I already kind of wrote on my little diagram. Okay, so angle 3 and angle 8. Well, you know what? I can't think of a relationship, and I studied that handout so much because Ms. Ramos and Ms. Corrales told me, But you know what? They're not directly related, but they could be. Okay, so then let's see. They're not congruent, and it's not telling me that they're congruent. It says, how are they related? So what is their relationship. Okay, so I know that 8 is corresponding to 4. Okay, and does 4 have a direct relationship with 3? Yes, it does, right? It makes a what? They make a straight line, so they are a linear pair or they are supplementary. Okay, do we see that? 3 and 4 make a line, and 8 and 4 are congruent because they're corresponding. That would mean that 8 and 3 are supplementary, but we can't just write that. Why? How do we know that? Because it's called a transitive property, right? Okay, that's that whole thing that Miss Ramos would say, Mr. Sierra is my friend, and Miss Ramos is my friend, therefore Miss Ramos is Mr. Sierra's friend. You know, it kind of like goes along with that little example that she was going with. Okay, so it might be able to be written in this way. So let's see. Angle 8 is congruent to angle 4, and we said because they are corresponding. They are corresponding angles. All right. And then angle 4 is supplementary. Or you could say linear pair. It's a linear pair to angle 3. Therefore, we can say that due to the transitive property, angle 8 is supplementary. Yes, Mama? Oh, you want a sandwich? Okay, 1 second, okay, Mommy? It's supplementary to angle 3. Okay? All right, so this is a math sentence, right? Or several statements. And I apologize, my 2-year-old wants a sandwich. Let me make this as quick as possible, okay? All right, so if you guys understand what I'm doing here and how I'm linking the relationship from one angle, like angle 8 to angle 3, okay, then you guys should be in good shape. You guys can test yourselves. You guys can test each other, right? Send each other a message saying, hey, Panchito, can you tell me how angle 4 is related to angle 2? You know, in 3 steps. And he can tell you, oh, okay, well, you know, angle 4 is vertical to angle 1, and angle 1 is a linear pair to angle 2. So they are supplementary. Something like that, okay? You guys can test each other. It's pretty easy. You guys should be in good shape with these two. Now, one more example from the homework to help you guys with your test. If you guys have your homework, I'm going to do problem number 4, letter D. There's several examples. I'm going to go ahead and get that. I didn't want to copy it down. Okay, so here we have it. And you guys, some of you guys have already sent me reminds as to what I'm talking about here. So it's asking you to classify the triangle that it's asking you for down here. Okay, I'm going to do this one because that's what Ms. Ramos and I agreed on doing. Okay, so I'm going to get my handy dandy colors because I like to color coordinate things. And this is square ABCD. And it's asking me what type of a triangle is DAB. DAB. So it's this triangle. Okay, before I do any other marking to make sure that I know what my triangle is, this is a square. So what do I know from about a square, right? I know that all the sides are congruent. Okay, and I know it has 90-degree angles and all that stuff, but I don't think that's going to matter to me right now because I want to know triangle DAB. I don't know what this middle is, and I don't need to know because if I can cover some of this information up, what kind of triangle is that? It has two sides that are the same. Oh wait, I kind of do remember paying attention during DNA today, and Ms. Corrales and Ms. Ramos said that if the markings are the same, that means that the angle marks are the same, right? So the angle here would be congruent to this angle here. And what are those triangles called that have two sides that are the same or two angles that are the same? Isosceles triangles, okay? So in general, if you were to cut a square like this with one diagonal, you're creating an isosceles triangle, okay? So what kind of, or what type of triangle is DAB? It is an isosceles triangle, okay? It doesn't fit because I write really big. All right, so now let's just talk in general, right? Okay, so let me see. This is a parallelogram, and I know that opposite sides are congruent, but not all four are congruent. Okay, so DEA, okay, so I'm being asked about that triangle. What's formed there? Well, I think I need a couple more markings. Let's see. I know that my diagonals bisect each other. Okay, but they are not congruent in a rhombus. So I already have one marking, two marking, three. I'm gonna do this 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so let me pay attention to this. I have a triangle that has three sides that are different. And what is that called? It is called a scalene triangle. Here we have a rhombus. All right, a rhombus, and we're asking for ADC. ADC. Okay, let's see, what do I know about a rhombus? It has all sides that are the same. Oh look, this kind of looks familiar. What kind of triangle is this with two sides that are the same? It is an isosceles. Okay, and what about this one? I am asked to classify ADC. ADC. Okay, so let's see. I know that in a rectangle, opposite sides are congruent, but not all four. So I have 1, 2, and then this one that I don't know what it is, but it's longer. So 1, 2, 3 different sides, and that is going to be scalene as well. Okay? All right, so that is pretty much all that you guys really need to know for your test. I think you guys are ready. And how prepared you feel, I think, has to do with how much practice that you guys did, how much homework you guys did. Okay, so if you still have homework assignments in your bag, I would recommend practicing, just doing some things. You know, if you get tired, kind of maybe work on 10 minutes on one thing, you know, go get some cereal, come back and do something else, okay? Best of luck, guys. If you have any questions, go ahead and hit me up on Remind. I will try to get to as many questions as I can, okay? After I make the sandwich. Have a nice night.